Welcome back to this video. This video will see DHCP in a slightly different way. It's a slightly different concept. So to understand this, let me draw something here. So we have this network here, right? And we'll say this is 1.0 network. And let's say they are in UK somewhere, okay, UK. And it's connected. We have a network with a couple of devices, let's say. Okay. So that's one. Now let's say this company, they have a branch in New York. So this is New York and it is 2.0. So two network, and they are in New York and they have some devices connected. Okay. Now we've been doing DHCP, right? So the concept is same here on this side. These devices should get the IP addresses dynamically. But the difference in this lab is that these devices here in New York should get the IP addresses dynamically also, but from this UK router. How is that possible? So that is what we are going to see in this lab. It's very simple, some basic commands we need to provide. This concept is called IP helper address. IP helper. By giving this command on this router, these devices will get the IP addresses, but we'll need to configure almost all the work on this router in UK for these to get IP addresses dynamically. So we'll get started. So to do that, let me get some devices. These routers, they may not have the serial interface, so we have to add. So let me see. To check it, you need to go to privilege mode and say show IP interface brief, and you can see it has the gigabit ports but not the serial. So I need to go to this physical here. Okay, and what do I need to do? I need to power off first, turn the power off, and you see this one, this card, I need to put this into this slot here. That's it. That's all I need to do, and turn the power back on. And we need to, I turned it on, I think. Okay, so now it will take some time and then we'll check again, and this router now has the serial interfaces so that we can connect it to the other router in New York. We have to do the same thing on this router, but I'll give you a shortcut. So now enable show IP interface brief. Now you can see we have the serial interfaces. So instead of doing it on this other router, what I can do, I'm going to delete this, delete, and I'll just make a copy of this router. This is a packet tracer shortcut only, okay, not in real world. So we have a copy. Now I'll just connect this. Okay. And we'll do some labeling now. Okay, what is this? UK 192.168.1.0 network. This one, New York 192.168.2.0 network. And let's go here now. We are on the UK router, okay. Interface G000, no shut. IP at 192.168.1. We can just say 100, okay. You can give anything, 255.255.255.0, right? And then we'll go to the serial 010, interface 010, no shut. IP address 10.0.0.1, 255.255.255.0, and it will come up. Now the red light is there, but as soon as I bring this interface up, it will come up, okay. What else? Now we'll start our DHCP configuration process. So how we are going to do this? First of all, we are going to configure for the one network. So like we did in the last video, everything is the same. So we'll do this for 1.0 network. After that, we are going to do it for this 2.0 network. So we have to do for the 2.0 network on this router. So that much we need to do. So let's start doing it. Exit IP DHCP pool, and we have to give a pool name. So this is a UK router, so let's say UK router, and network is 192.168.1.0 255.255.255.0. Default router, that's our gateway here, this G000. So we have given us 192.168.1.100, and this time let's say we have a DNS server somewhere in the network here, right? We have a DNS server, and that is 1.50. So the router will communicate with that server and then provide the IP addresses to the devices. So we need to say DNS server 192.168.1.10, okay. And if we want to exclude some, so let's say we can exclude, first of all we'll exclude the DNS server address, and then we'll exclude our default gateway, and if we want to we can exclude some more. So exit IP DHCP excluded address 192.168.1.10, right? DNS server is 10 we have given, yes, 10, and IP DHCP excluded address, this is our gateway 192.168.1.100, and IP DHCP excluded address 192.168.1.1 starting address, and then ending address 192.168.1.30, let's say, okay. So it will start from 31. Done, guys. We are done with 1.0 network. So let me do WR. Now we'll start the 2.0 network, which is in New York. We have to do everything on this router in UK. So IP DHCP pool name New York router, and network is 2.0, so 192.168.2.0 255.255.255.0. Default router, we haven't given the default gateway here, but let's say I'm going to do 2.100, okay. So as we configure this router, we will provide this gateway as 2.100, so that's what we need to provide here. Default router 192.168.2.100. DNS server is the same for the 1.0 network because that's the server this router will be contacting. So that was 192.168.1.10, right? Now exclusion, for this router we will exclude just this gateway. Okay, so 2.100, right? Exit IP DHCP excluded address 192.168.2.100. And if you want to exclude more, you can exclude it here, but I'm just going to exclude this gateway. Done. Now we have done with the DHCP for both routers, but obviously these are two different networks, so we need routing also on both routers. So we need to configure that IP route 192.168.2.0 and destination prefix 255.255.255.0, and the next hop is going to say 10.002. So 10.0.0.2. You understand this interface here? I'm going to configure this as 10.0.0.2. That's why I put it here, the next hop as 10.0.0.2. We are completely done with this router. Now I can save it. Now I need to go here, enable configure terminal interface G000. This is the gateway, and IP address 192.168.2.100. okay, that's the one we have given as default router here, so we must give the same IP address 255.255.255.0. Now we just need to provide the static route back to the one network. So the command is exit, first of all exit IP route 192.168.1.0 255.255.255.0. next stop is 10.0.0.1. This is the next stop, right? From here this is the next stop. That's it. Now we have one more command, very important command. We need to provide it here, because without that command, these PCs here in New York, these PCs here will not get the IP addresses dynamically from this router. So we must provide that. But anyhow, before we providing that particular command, let's verify these PCs here in UK. We'll check those if they are getting the IP addresses dynamically. So let's check that. First we'll go to this PC. Why is this still red? I didn't. Interface G00, no shut. Okay, so I'll check the devices here on this side, not command prompt. So I need to, this is default to static, so I need to click on DHCP and it will get the DHCP addresses from this router. So we are getting 1.31 because we have excluded 1.1 to 1.30. That's why starting is from 3.1. This one will get 32, I assume. Yeah, 32 here. Now if I go here, will it get the IP addresses? No, it will not, and I'll tell you why. It's going to say failed and APIPA is being used. Remember, APIPA is a temporary address. It's given here when DHCP is not available or is down, or this router cannot contact the server. So that's why this APIPA is being used. So what we need to do, we need to go back to this router in New York. Okay, in real life, how this happens, the administrators here will do this side, and New York administrator for this branch will do the work for this side, or they can remote in. Both ways you can do. So let me tell you the reason also. The reason is that let me clear all this. Now you understand the concept. The reason is that this router has no idea whom to contact for DHCP. So when these devices send the request, it will go here, and here it's stuck. This router doesn't have any information about the DHCP server. So as soon as we provide the IP address for this interface, and now the router knows that it will need to send the request to here, and then this router will respond back, and then these devices will get the IP addresses. So let's see that. Configure terminal. So we need to do it on this interface, okay, the gateway interface. That's where we need to provide the IP helper address. Interface G00 IP helper address. What address? Simply the next stop you can provide this serial 010 address is 10001. 10001. 10001. That's it. Now we are done with entire configuration. Now what we need to do, go to, and now we'll check whether they are getting the IP addresses dynamically. So we need to check DHCP, and it should get some 2 dot something, 2.1, because we haven't excluded like we did it on this side. So it's getting 2.1. The other one should get 2.2, 2.2. So this is it, guys. This is how you would configure DHCP for a different network. So let's say they are related and they have this branch in UK and also in New York. So you can do everything from UK side, so that these devices would get the IP address from the UK router. Understood the concept? Very simple, right? DHCP we already learned, so the configuration is almost the same. We are just doing it for this side and providing this IP helper address on this New York router, so that this New York router would know whom to contact when these devices request for IP addresses. That's it. Before we leave, I'm sorry, I will need to show you one more thing. Let me add one router here. Okay, so my question to you is, if this router needs to get the IP addresses dynamically, how to do it? So this router is providing IP addresses dynamically to these devices, right? But my question here is, if this router needs to get the IP addresses dynamically, what we need to do? Simple. What we do, go here, enable configure terminal, interface G00 no shut, and usually what we do, we say IP address and we provide the IP address statically, right? But if I put a question mark here, look at the option. We have the static ABCD is just means static, okay? We can provide it manually. DHCP, okay? So that's what we need to provide it here, DHCP, and that's it. It will take around 1 minute to get the IP address. We'll check. You can fast forward it here, and it will still take around 1 minute, I think. So do show IP interface brief. You can see this got the IP address 000, which is this one, and it's got 1.33. So this is how you would configure for like a device like a router. Anyhow, that's all for this lab. If you understood the concept, please give me a thumbs up. In the next video, we'll see some other concept. In the meantime, if you have any questions, you can ask me down below. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay tuned. Thank you and good day.